For the last 10 months, the Ukrainian Armed Forces have been fighting in the wet trenches and enduring the onslaught of the Russian military. Ukraine insists its troops are still holding Bakhmut, despite the head of the Wagner mercenary group claiming to have raised the Russian flag over the administration building. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, in charge of the situation in Bakhmut, said the military situation was very hot around Bakhmut, and there was no stopping to take the town. The battle for Bakhmut has been one of the conflict's deadliest, with thousands of casualties on both sides and large parts of the eastern city destroyed. Every day, the front line in the city moved backwards and forwards as Russian and Ukrainian troops fought street by street. The Ukrainian military said on Monday that fighting was still going on in Bakhmut, with clashes still taking place around the city council building. New footage shows the 71st Separate Hunting Brigade of the Airborne Assault Force of the Armed Forces of Ukraine destroying the forward camp of Russian troops in one of the forest belts in the Donetsk region with artillery fire. The operators first detected the arrival of additional occupying forces at the position, and then adjusted artillery fire towards them, thus aborting the interventionists' attack. Several invaders have become fertilizer for the local flora and fauna. Putin's arsenal has significantly raised the ambient temperature, bringing the spring heat ever closer. The mining town and logistics hub, located on the edge of the Russian-occupied part of Donetsk province, has been the center of frontline fighting for months. Russian forces hope to seize the city and use it as a launch pad for further gains in eastern Ukraine, with the ultimate goal of capturing Ukraine's Donbas industrial area. Ukrainian military commanders stress the importance of restraining Bakhmut to tie up Russian forces and stop Moscow from launching new attacks elsewhere in Donetsk. Meanwhile, a spokesman for the Russian Defense Ministry who spoke to Sputnik said that Russian forces destroyed 2 Ukrainian reconnaissance groups and repelled a combined attack by multiple rocket launch systems of Ukrainian forces south of Donetsk. The Russian Ministry of Defense reported that 3 Ukrainian drones were also downed by Russian troops. South of Donetsk, a combined missile attack involving 2 HIMARS multiple launch rocket system (MLRS) rockets and 3 Smerch MLRS projectiles was repulsed. The crew of the S-300 and Buk anti-aircraft missile systems destroyed all targets, the spokesman said. Russian forces have prevented 2 Ukrainian attempts to conduct reconnaissance by force south of Donetsk, according to a Defense Ministry spokesperson. A reconnaissance group was annihilated, and up to 20 militants were annihilated, the spokesperson added. The footage also shows a kamikaze drone piloted by fighters from the Special Operations Center A of the Ukrainian Security Service hitting the Murom M video thermal surveillance complex, which the Russian invaders placed atop a cell phone tower. Not only that, at that time there were officers on the observation deck beside the equipment who were also injured. This was reported by the Telegram channel Eskadron, which published a related video. Not only that, the Kholodny Yar 93rd Separate Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces used the Russian UR-77 mine machine against the Russian invaders in Bakhmut. The video was recorded by an unmanned aerial vehicle, whose operator set up artillery fire on attackers on city buildings. First, classic artillery fire is shown, including how, after one of the explosions, one of the intruders flew several tens of meters away, and then the launch of a mine rocket, which exploded with great force. Today, it can be believed that Bakhmut was like this for 2 reasons. Firstly, it is common knowledge that Cold War warriors fought in Bakhmut. Second, there was no major town on the front line where such a battle would have taken place, except for Mariinka. But not a single relatively intact building remained in it, as the fighting had been going on there for a year. Most recently, the Ukrainian Defense Forces destroyed 50 Russian invaders and injured another 115 over the past few days in the Limansky and Kupiansky directions, the northernmost part of the front mainly in Luhansk. Apart from that, The Ukrainians also destroyed 2 T-72 tanks, 2 infantry fighting vehicles, and an ammunition depot of the invaders. This was reported by the spokesman for the Eastern Forces Group of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Serhiy Cherevity. The Russian Federation Army uses more armored vehicles here, but our defense forces destroy them every day. The General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces reported on April 4 that Russia had lost 175,690 soldiers in Ukraine since the start of its full-scale invasion on February 24 last year. This number includes the 530 casualties suffered by Russian forces over the past few days. Leading Ukrainian military analyst Dary Zhdanov said on Monday that fighting had engulfed the city center. Ukrainian forces have repulsed 25 enemy attacks, but Russian troops have captured the Azov metalworks, which Ukrainian troops have been defending for days. The enemy is attacking the city center from the north, east, and south, and trying to take the city under complete control, said Zhdanov, who has close ties to the Ukrainian military, in a video posted on YouTube. Mariinka and Bakhmut from the Donetsk region remain the epicenter of hostilities. In the latter area, the Ukrainian defenders repelled about 20 enemy attacks during the day. As reported by Ukrinform, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine announced this on Facebook, publishing operational information at 18 o'clock on Tuesday, April 4. According to the General Staff, Russian forces continue to focus their main efforts on conducting offensive operations in the Lyman, Bakhmut, Aviv, and Mariinka regions. More than 45 enemy attacks were repulsed there by Ukrainian defense forces during the day. Units of the Defense Forces missile and artillery troops, for their part, hit 2 control points and a Russian radio-electronic warfare station. During the day, the Russian army carried out 2 missile strikes and 28 airstrikes, including 17 Shed-136 drones. In addition, the enemy launched 7 attacks from rocket salvo systems. As a result of the Russian attack, there were dead and wounded among the civilian population. The General Staff warned that the possibility of the enemy carrying out missile and airstrikes across the territory of Ukraine remains high, as the occupiers continue to use terror tactics. On the Volyn, Polis, Sivir, and Slobozhin directions, the operational situation did not undergo significant changes, and no signs of the formation of a Russian offensive group were detected. The presence of units of the armed forces of the Russian Federation in the border areas of the Kursk and Belgorod regions is maintained,